Disclaimer, my goal is not to switch your pick. If you have Carlos Prates, I actually prefer you stay with your pick. I actually want you to double down on your pick. And matter of fact, I want you to completely ignore what I'm going to say, whether you think it's true or not, because I don't want the odds to shift. I don't want the odds to shift. All right. So I like Leon as the underdog. Please do not change your pick. But for the Leon fans who may be a little bit worried, you're going to like this video because people are talking right now. The streets talk. Got to keep watch. Eavesdrops from the treetops. 3 shots for your Reeboks. I keep Glocks in my knee socks. T-Doc and the T-Doc get you outlined in police chalk. Like a white guy trying to beatbox. But how to get the rapping, you know. Listen, man. The odds makers are making a big mistake making Leon. Yo, when I saw Leon Edwards as the underdog, I smiled to myself so hard. And I was contemplating making this video because I feel like after watching this video, everyone's going to know what's going to happen. It's going to be a lot more obvious. But I'm hoping that this doesn't change your opinion. So I'm hoping to, after I post this and click post, I look at the comments like, oh, casual. Kenny picked this guy to win last time. This didn't happen. I hope that's what a majority of the comments are saying. I'm hoping I'm not wrong. But let's get into this video and why I know Leon Edwards is going to win and why I think it's kind of funny where the odds are saying what a lot of people are saying. But let's just get into it, bro. Enough stalling. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the biggest misconception. First of all, this is a misconception why everyone's picking Leon Edwards unless you live under a rock. Leon breaks to pressure. That's what they think. They think Leon breaks the pressure, and if you pressure Leon, he loses. And they're looking at Prates, and it's like he's a pressure fighter. So they're equating that to him being the reason why he's going to beat Leon. Okay, cool. Leon doesn't break to pressure. He breaks to pressure mixed with volume, mixed with wrestling. That's a misconception that people aren't grasping. They think Belal beat Leon just by walking forward and doing nothing. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I know if you might have maybe closed your eyes, watched the fights, you might have thought Belal was just walking forward. Belal was walking forward with an absurd amount of volume in his hands, mixed in with wrestling. You know, when Usman was torching him the second fight before the head kick in the first fight, he was walking forward with volume in his hands and utilizing wrestling. He broke him. Kobe tried to use pressure with no volume behind it. We saw what happened there. Like Kobe tried to pressure him and then try to use only pressure in wrestling. He tried to use 2 out of 3. Didn't work. You know, you can't just pressure Leon and hope something's going to happen. Hope you're going to beat him without some kind of volume. Volume is the most important part here. And then the wrestling part adds on to that. People think if you just pressure Leon, he loses. Then he would have lost to Kobe because Kobe was trying to just pressure. But like Leon was just picking him apart, finding his counter shots and piecing him up. Now, you're probably like, okay, but yo, Prates he's crazy pressure. Like he was pressuring people. Let's talk about Prates' fight style because I feel like there's a huge misconception. But like I said, don't switch your pick. If you have Prates, stick with him. But let's talk about Prates' actual fight style. Prates' fight style is hand fighting heavy. He picks his shots. He does not throw with overwhelming volume. That's something I feel like people don't understand. He'll hand fight you and you'll pick shots. He's not going to use overwhelming volume and then shoot a takedown like a Belal Muhammad or Kamaru Usman or somebody, Sean Brady, these guys who could beat him. Like Sean Brady was just forward pressure volume and then takedown. Like he's not going to do that. He's going to walk forward and he's not going to throw much. Said his forward pressure also leaves openings for counters, which against Ian Gary, you're probably like, why did he lose to Ian Gary? Well, if you don't remember that fight, I'll tell you what happened in that fight. He walked forward against Ian Gary, was pressuring Ian Gary the entirety of the fight, but wasn't letting his hands go. And people after the fight were like, why wasn't Prates letting his hands go to the 5th round? Because Prates' fight style isn't high on volume. But people who aren't don't really watch UFC and don't really follow the sport closely, they think Prates is a high volume striker because maybe they'll see highlights where he knocks someone out and is clean. But no, he actually hand fights a lot. A lot of the pressure is accompanied by hand fighting, not actual volume, which is why Ian Gary was like, when he was trying to hand fight him, Ian Gary was being a taller, longer opponent. Was like, what the hell are you trying to do? Boom, stick and move, boom, boom, boom. He was just shitting on Prates, made Prates look like a very insignificant striker because when Prates does not have this height advantage and he's going to be hard for him to use his hand fighting just to pick shots and then walk off. This is not roses and bubbles, but like I said, like I understand this misconception. If you actually believe Leon only breaks the pressure, that's it. Of course, you're going to think Prates would win because Prates pressured Ian Gary, didn't win, but he pressured him. So maybe if he does the same thing he did against Ian Gary, maybe he could beat Leon. Maybe if he just walks forward against Leon and then starts eating counter shots by Leon and just loses every single round, maybe he could win. I really don't understand what's hard about this fight. I think what's hard, maybe people don't watch film. Like, please don't watch back film because if you watch back Ian Gary versus Prates, I feel like you guys are gonna be really feel really dumb for picking Prates to win because the reason he lost to Ian Gary, it wasn't because Ian Gary was the first person over 6 feet that Prates was going against. That might have had something to do with it because Prates does really well when the guy's very short. Shout out the Jeff Neal fight or shout out any other fight he finished because they're shorter than him. it wasn't just the height in the first time he's going against someone tall. It's because when Carlos Prates does pressure, he doesn't throw crazy volume behind it. He pressures to hand fight and pick individual single shots. Very rarely those great chaining together combos. He just walks forward, he hand fights you, and you try to pick a shot to drop you with it, or maybe find the good timing with the knee like he did against Charles Radke. Things like that. That's what people think. That's what his actual fight style is, but people don't actually know that because they don't actually watch Carlos Prates fight. Now that we know how Carlos Prates fight, and we already addressed this misconception, how does Leon Edwards fight? This is how he fights. He's a sharp counterpuncher with good movement. He's one of the better stick and movers that we know about in the UFC. Good kicking arsenal, and I said slept on wrestling as well. So not only do I think Leon Edwards is going to be way better in the striking realm, I do think he has the capabilities of wrestling. But dude, Kenny, Carlos Prates was stuffing takedowns against Ian Gary. Who was Leon Edwards took down? I don't know. We could talk about it. I don't think you want to talk about it because it's going to make your point look really dumb. But if you actually talk about people Leon Edwards has taken down, I could talk about Kobe. I could talk about Usman. I could talk about great people with good wrestling. Of course, the Sean Brady takedown attempt, Shibai. But of course, like, Prates is not known for great wrestling. Like, Ian Gary has shitty takedown entries. That's why Carlos Prates was stuffing him. Anyone could take down Carlos Prates if he really wanted to, and Leon Edwards definitely can if he wants to too. We're going to talk about how I think the fight's going to go a little bit later in the video, but I just want you guys to know that Leon Edwards' best weapon being his counter punching is going to be very easy to do against someone who's going to walk forward with pressure but no volume behind it, which is what Ian Gary was actually doing to Carlos Prates, because Carlos Prates was walking him down, trying to hand fighting, when Ian Gary would get out the way of the hand fighting and land his beautiful shots, then keep exiting and keep circling. I think Leon Edwards has great movement, if not better movement than Ian Gary. So when he's stick and moving, it's going to be very problematic for someone like Carlos Prates, who's going to just be walking forward, essentially eating shots, man. Like, even Leon Edwards against Sean Brady, I know he was kind of getting volume maxed and took it down and stuff, but Brady, I'll give Brady credit. He has a chin on him because Brady was walking into some serious elbows, man. And just some serious shots, just like Usman was in the third fight. Usman in the third fight pressured Edwards, but with not high volume. I think why Usman wasn't high volume in the third fight was because the knockout, because Usman was not fighting like Usman, wasn't throwing high volume, and his wrestling wasn't looking all that. So he was kind of just trying to rely on pressuring Leon Edwards because he thinks what people think in this video, that Leon breaks to pressure. He's not. He would have lost the third fight to Usman as well. He would have lost. If you just pressure Leon, he loses. He would have lost to Kobe and Usman in the third fight. But it's just not pressure that beats Leon. But people are a little bit stupid and they don't understand this. So they think it's only pressure. But truth be told, it's pressure with the volume, with the wrestling. Now, at this point in the video, if you're already watching this far, you already know Prates loses. And I'm just going to keep getting worse from here on out because I'm going to keep bringing up more points. But we know you need 3 things specifically to be able to beat Leon decisively, at least. And we know Prates has one of those things, which is pressure. And we've seen from Leon's history that only pressure is not going to be good enough to beat Leon Edwards in a fight like this. So that being said, I do think Leon's going to have a clinic in the counter punching that he has in this fight against Prates, who just walks forward with his hands down, has very poor defensive capabilities because he's just walking, trying to use hand fighting as his defensive capabilities. When you're hand fighting first, it leaves openings like 1-2s down the pipe. Shout out Adesanya, because Adesanya, after getting eye poked, tried to hand fight with Imavov, got hit with a 1-2 down the middle. Hand fighting's not really good defense unless you're a lot taller than your opponent. I know Carlos Prates used to being taller and longer than a lot of his opponents. And then he went against Ian Gary, and that just wasn't the case. Well, now you're going against another 6'2" welterweight, so it's not going to be the case. He's actually very strong physically. Like, he has a good physique on him, but I ain't trying to glaze, she-bile. But brother, good physique, maybe look good waist ratio and everything. This guy's not weak, and he's actually very quick in the hands. Good kicking game, good wrestling game. Just a lot more well-rounded than Carlos Prates. I actually don't know how people or what people are actually picking Prates to win by. I think they're picking him to win. I don't know if they think like Leon's gonna get knocked out or something. Which is going to bring me to my next point, because I know people can be like, didn't Nate Diaz rock him in the 5th round when Leon was tired? Well, let's talk about some things to note about this fight. 1, Leon's an underdog, plus 164. 2, it's a 3-round fight. So the people talking about, oh, well, he got tired against Nate Diaz, and he got tired against Usman, and he gets tired. Yeah, those are 5-round fights. And on top of that, this is Leon's first non-wrestler in a while, so he's going to get to exercise his striking, which I saw him saying in like an interview recently that he's finally excited to go in there with a pure striker so he can show how good he really is. And then lastly, I said Prates struggles with people when he isn't taller than them. So knowing all 4 of these things, this is like, I'm not saying it's free money, but I'm saying the money that you can attain is literally free in front of you. If you're betting, man, holy shit. Oh, I already have my 2-legger that I'm going to just hammer the Edwards, Brady 2-legger. I don't think I'm going to bet on anything else on that card. But man, this is like such an easy thing. So once you realize it's a 3-round fight, so people can't be like, well, didn't Nate rock him because Nate used pressure and volume and the cardio disadvantage that Leon Edwards didn't have? Well, yeah, Nate Diaz did have pressure and volume, but the cardio was what helped him rock him in the 5th round. Carlos Prates does have pretty good cardio. I actually think against Ian Gary, he came alive a little bit more in that 5th round when he saw Ian Gary fading because Ian Gary was on short notice. This is a full camp ready noticed Leon Edwards, who's in a 3-round fight. Leon Edwards is known for Leon Edwards never lost a 1 round first round his entire life, but until the Sean Brady fight. Fun fact: every first round before that he's won. He's just a really good starter, and he keeps that for about 1, 2, 3 rounds, and then he starts to wilt in championship rounds. Prates doesn't have that. This is not a 5-round fight. 5-round fight will make this fight a little bit more interesting, which I still think Leon will win, but it just makes it more interesting. Whereas a 3-round fight makes this fight as clear as day about who's going to win. And I just feel like I like that people don't understand that, but I think it's a little bit strange how people don't understand that. It doesn't really make sense to me. And I know Leon's excited that even if Prates is pressuring, and for some reason Prates for whatever reason he's changed his fight style and just starts wailing with a lot of volume, which will get him probably knocked out by Leon. But says he just changes that, it's just gonna be volume and striking. It's not going to be with the wrestling as well. If someone's going to have a wrestling advantage in this fight, we know who it's going to be. So my thing is Prates, who struggles with taller opponents, Leon, who's going against his first non-wrestler, who's not going to have good volume and wrestling behind him, as well as the fact this is a 3-round fight, so Leon could comfortably fight and strike as much as he wants to without worrying about gassing, as well as the fact that he's simply an underdog. It's a very easy fight to pick. Now, how do I actually see the fight playing out? I'm going to tell you right now. Leon will use his weapons to counter. So I really just see Carlos Prates walking forward, trying to hand fight, trying to overwhelm him with not volume, but with presence. But once he realizes Leon's really good at picking his shots, so you can't just walk forward with presence like Usman did in the 3rd fight, or sometimes even Sean Brady was a little bit irresponsible with some of the way he was pressuring, and Leon was finding those good counter shots, kind of like how Kobe was too when Kobe wanted to pressure, but Leon would just find the shots and kind of pause Kobe in his tracks and make him look goofy. That's what I see him doing against Prates. Kind of how what Ian Gary did to Prates when Prates was walking forward with nothing behind it. Leon Edwards would do it at a better rate, because I do rate Leon Edwards as actually a better counter puncher and a counter striker than I do Ian Gary, because I think Edwards is a little bit quicker than him in some aspects, so I do think that too. I think Prates will be low output and he'll be eating low kicks on the way in, so I do think eventually he's going to just be doing a lot of this, and then Leon Edwards going to low kick him. He has really skinny legs. I think they're going to fold him a little bit. It's going to have him looking goofy. Going to have him he's going to have him limping in a little bit. That's how much low kicks Leon Edwards is probably going to hit him with, as well as the fact that if Leon Edwards is actually getting overly pressured and feeling scared and feeling like the volume of Prates is getting to him, he'll just shoot a takedown. This takedown might not even be shot to be a completed takedown, but rather just to get space and just make Carlos Prates defend and give Carlos Prates more things to think about, which is just guaranteeing a win for Leon Edwards. This fight's really easy to pick. I don't want to convince anyone, bro. Please do not switch your pick if you're going Prates. Call me a casual, call me all these crazy stuff. Say, then you get this pick wrong in the comments. This is going to make me happy, because I just don't want people to switch up their pick. I think Prates loses every round. I don't really see a lot, because like I said, Leon Edwards never lost a first round in his life, except for Sean Brady, because Sean Brady mixing the wrestling, controlled him for nearly 4 minutes, 30 seconds or 50, whatever it was. I think Leon wins the first round like he always does against normal people. Then 2nd and 3rd round he wins. He definitely wins the first 2 rounds. If Leon does fatigue in 3 rounds on a full camp, which is something he never really does, but if out of the blue, if that happens, then sure, Prates could win the last round. But can Prates knock out Leon Edwards? Just no. No one has hurt Leon Edwards unless Leon Edwards has been hurt in the past, but I just don't think Prates is going to keep that power that he thinks he has. That's just a little bit overrated to me, man. He did sleep Jeff Neal his last fight. Like I said, that's probably bad timing, but Leon Edwards is not someone easily slept. He has really good movement. He has a chin on him, because even if he does rock, he never got finished in his life. So I don't think Leon Edwards is going to lose to someone with the skill set of Carlos Prates. It's a very easy fight to pick. I'm not gonna lie, like I said, my goal in this video was not to make you switch your pick if you're a Prates fan, rather just to make people understand what this fight's gonna be on Saturday. So no matter who your pick is, guys, I can't wait for this fight. It's gonna be so interesting, brother. Dale, brother. But I'm going my friend Leon Edwards, brother. Let me know who you guys got down below, and let me know what you think Prates is going to do. I'm pretty sure most people are going to resort to saying puncher's chance in the comments, because after listening to this, they probably realize, oh shit, he's probably going to lose. But let me know what you think down below. That's it from me, and God bless. 2, 3.